Hello, hello, hello. Am I audible, folks? Can you hear me? Am I audible? Can you hear me? Am I audible, folks? Hello, hello. Can you hear me? Am I audible? All right, folks. Good evening. Thank you so much, all of you, for joining for the live session over here today. So we are starting the next paper, CDS 2024 2 paper is what we are going to solve, right? This is this particular paper, CDS 2024 second session of examination is what we are going to solve today. And today we are going to solve up from question number 1 to 20, right? Okay, so without any further ado, let's get started over here. Okay, right? So the first question says a real number x such that the sum of the number and 4 times the number 4 times its square is the least, right? Okay, so a real number x is such that the sum of the number and 4 times its square is the least. Okay, so over here the clue lies with the word least, right? Okay, so let's just look at this. If you, what it is saying, that what is that particular number? Let's say I'm saying that number is x. Okay, so what it means is that x plus 4 times x square has to be minimum, is what they are saying, right? Isn't it? Right, earlier number x is such that the sum of the number and the 4 times its square is the least. This has to be minimum. Okay, now if you assume this particular value, it is going to give us a positive value because it's a positive number, right? Isn't it? Since it's a positive number, so D option will give you a positive value. Similarly over here option D will also give you a positive number, right? So now the contention is only with option A and option B. Okay, for the sake of our simplicity, can we just assume this particular value minus 0.625 as simply minus 0.6, right? There is a merit in assuming minus 0.625 is as 0.6, which is like something like close to that particular value, right? Okay, so if this is the particular value plus 4 times minus 0.6 whole square, right? Okay, if we solve for this, we get minus 0.6 plus 4 times 0.36 is what we get. Okay, minus 0.6 plus this value is some value 1 point how much is that, 1.44, something like that. So what do we see? This particular A is also giving you a positive value, right? Okay, option A is also giving you a positive value. So let's just write down, right over here, A is giving you a positive value. But let's say if we take B as an option, let's say I'm assuming a nearest value to that x is equal to minus 0.1 is I'm assuming, right? Okay, so x plus 4 times x square, right? 4 times of x square, right? This is 0.1 plus 4 times, this is how much? Minus 0.01, right? Sorry, plus 0.01, which will give you minus 0.1 plus 0.04, right? Now if you see, if you look at this particular number, this number is still a negative number. Okay, so what can we easily conclude that out of A, B, C, D, right, the least number obviously will be this 2 which is still giving you a negative number. Rest all, if you do the operation as mentioned over here, right, in this particular question, you get what, right? You get a positive number, right? Okay, so that's the question number 1 over here, folks, right? So let's get going over here with question number 2, right? The difference of the squares of two natural number. Okay, so the difference of the squares of two natural number, which means m square minus n square is equal to 72. They have also given m is greater than n. How many pairs of natural number will, right, will satisfy? So what does it mean? So it means m plus n into m minus n, right? A square minus b square is equal to a plus b into a minus b, right? Now 72 can be written as 72 into 1, okay, or otherwise you can also write it as 36 into 2, or otherwise you can also write it as 24 into 3, or also you can write it 18 into 4, right? Or you can also write it like 12 into 6, or you can write it like 9 into 8, okay? Or can you write it any further over here? Now 8 into 9, so which means now the opposite of this will start, right? I mean, now over here 8 into 9 will start, right? Or over here 12 into 6 into 12 will start, which is basically the same, right? So we need not consider these particular values, right? Okay, now let's look at this particular value over here. Okay, let's take this particular value. If m plus m into m minus n is equal to 72 into 1, what does it mean? It means that m plus n is equal to 72 and m minus n is equal to how much? 1. But if we solve for this, we get 2m is equal to 73, which means m is equal to how much? 36.5, right? Okay, m is equal to 36.5, and they have said, okay, natural numbers, how many pairs of natural numbers, right? So what it means is that the summation of these two numbers, if it is an odd number, that will not work out, right? Over here the summation is an odd number, over here summation is even number, 38, right? Okay, over here it's an odd number, so it will also not work out. Over here it's an even number. 18 plus 4 is 22, 12 plus 6 is how much? 18. All of these are odd number, but 9 plus 8 is how much? 17. So this and all will not work out. Okay, so only the value 36 into 2, 18 into 4 and 12 into 6 will work out. Hence the number of pairs of solution which will satisfy the given equation will be what? Okay, 3. Okay, so number of pair of solution over here will be how much? 3, right? All right. Okay, so the now next question over here, it says let n be a 5-digit number, right? N be a 5-digit number. When n is divided by 6, 12, 15, 24, it leaves the remainder of 2, 8, 11 and 20, right? Okay, if it leaves a remainder of this much, right? Now if you see the answer, exact answer ABCD, it should not be divisible by 6, right? It should not really be divisible by 6. But if you look at the option A, it is divisible by both 2 and 3, which means it is divisible by 6, which means A is definitely not your answer, right? So A is not your answer. Now if by dividing by 6, if it leaves a remainder of 2, which means if we do minus 2 over here, this number should be divisible by 6, right? Which means 99954, 99948, 99944, right? Now this number, if you can see clearly, it is not divisible by 3, which means this answer is also not possible, right? So you have only two options possible over here, B and C, right? Okay, if B and C is possible, now let's just check for B and C over here, right? Okay, so now if you look at this particular option, right? Okay, now we have two options, right? If you do minus 2 over here, 99954, this number is divisible by 6, right? Minus 2, because this number is divisible by both 2 and 3, right? Okay, now if you do 99948, now this number is also divisible by 6, right? Okay, now if you look at some of the numbers carefully, right? Okay, right, now if you divide it by 15, the remainder has to be 11. Okay, if you divide it by 15, the remainder has to be 11. Where exactly it is more likely to come? Okay, where exactly it is more likely we are likely to get? Okay, You can take any of the values. Okay, so let's say I'm taking option B over here. So 15 I'm dividing it by like this. Okay, 90, 0, 90, 95. Okay, 6 times 90, 56. Okay, right? Okay, so over here, how much? 4 times 45. How much do you get? 11 over here, right? Okay, right? So which means obviously this is going to be your answer, folks. Okay, now you can simply check for this also. This will not give you 11 as a remainder if you divide that by, right? If you divide that by 50, right? Now let's move on to the question number 4 over here. Okay, now they are asking what is the remainder when this particular, right, number over here, 111 raised to the power 222, right, plus 222 raised to the power 333 plus 333 raised to the power 444 is divided by 5. Okay, okay, so they are asking what is the remainder. 111, 222 plus 222 divided by 333 plus 333 raised to the power 444 divided by 5. What is the remainder is what they are asking. Okay, so what it means that it is saying remainder of 111 raised to the power 222 divided by 5 plus over here a remainder 222 raised to the power 333, right, divided by 5 plus remainder of 333 raised to the power 444 divided by 5. Okay, right? Now basically the operations of multiplication, addition and subtraction holds good with remainder as well. Okay, if you look at this particular value carefully, right, okay, if you look at this particular carefully and if you look at this particular carefully, what it means is that we can simply write it like remainder of 111 divided by 5 means we can simply first divide 111 by 5. Okay, 110 is divisible, that means your remainder is 1 raised to the power 222 divided by 5. Okay, plus over here what will be the remainder if you divide 222 with 5, right, remainder will be 2 raised to the power 333 by 5. Okay, plus remainder of over here if you divide 3 by 5 you will get remainder as 3 raised to the power 444 by 5. Okay, so this is how the question has reduced to now. Okay, right, now I want you guys to look at it a bit more carefully, right? Okay, if you look at it more carefully, 1 raised to the power 222 divided by 5, does it make any difference in the remainder? No. So if you solve for it, this particular whole of the operation will give you 1. Okay, right, now let's come to this particular part. Let's say I'm solving this particular part alone, right? A remainder of 2 raised to the power 333 divided by 5. Okay, so now we have to check the cyclicity. Okay, if it was 2 raised to the power 1, remainder was 2. If it was 2 raised to the power 2, remainder was 4. 2 cube means 8, right? 8 cannot be the remainder when you divide it by 5, right? So remainder will be 3, right? Now 3 square, right? 3 into 2, right? It is how much? 4, right? Okay, now 2 raised to the power 4, which is 16, divided by 5 is how much? Remainder is 1. Okay, now the next one will be what? Next one will be again 2, right? So after all of these 4 cycles, these are what? Repeating, right? So the cyclicity for this particular expression is 4, right? Now similarly, let's check over here for 3 as well. Let's say I'm doing over here for remainder of 3 raised to the power 444 divided by 5, right? Okay, so 3 raised to the power 1, remainder is 3. 3 square, right? 9, remainder is 9, right? 3 cube is 27, right? Okay, 27. So 27, remainder is 3. 3 raised to the power 4, right? okay, 81, remainder is 1, okay, and again after this it will start to repeat. So there is like there is the cyclicity over here is of 4, right? So what you do over here it is your 333 up till 332 power, it will complete the cycle of 2, and then the next one will come. So the next one is 2 over here, right? Okay, so the remainder over here will be how much? 2, right? Now for this particular one it is 444, which is divisible by 4, which means it will make complete cycle. So which means over here remainder will be the last one, okay, right, because it is completing the whole cycle. So over here 1 plus 2 plus 1, 4 is the remainder over here, right? So 4 is the answer to this particular question over here, folks, right? Are you guys understanding all of this? Write down in the chat, okay? Are you guys understanding? Right? Not so difficult one for sure, okay? Not so difficult one for sure, okay? So now next question over here is, what is the last 3 digit in the multiplication of, okay? They have given you the multiplication of this particular question number 5 over here. They have given you this particular number and this particular number, and they are asking the last 3 digit, okay, the multiplication of this last 3 digit, okay. So remember, in any given number, right, if it is in the form of multiplication, right, only the last 3 digit will influence the given last 3 digit, right, isn't it? Okay, so on the both hand side just take the last 3 digit, okay. Over here is 3 4 5 and over here is 7 8 9, okay. If you do the multiplication of this, I have done a little bit of my homework over here, right, okay. So if you do the multiplication over here, you get 272 205, right, okay. Why does it happen? Because if you look at the 4th digit, which is at over here at 2th position, the place value of this is 2000, right, and over here the fourth digit over here from the right, which is at the thousandth position, which is at 6000th position. If you multiply these two, you get 12. 1 2 3 4 5 6, 1 2 3 4 5 6, okay. You see over here it's not dictating the last 3 digit, right, okay. So you have to only worry about the last 3 digit over here in the both hand sides, which is your 202, folks, right? Very easy one. Now question number 6 over here, it says P varies directly as x square plus y square plus z square, which means P is equal to k into x square plus y square plus z square, right, okay. When x is equal to 1, y is equal to 2 and z is equal to 3, and z and that particular time, right, P value is 70, right. So it is k x square is 1 plus 2 square is 4, 9 is 3 square is 9, okay. 9 plus 4 13, which means k is equal to how much? 5. Now if you know the value of k is equal to 5, can you put over here P is equal to, right, what is the value of P when x is equal to minus 1, y is equal to 1 and z is equal to 5, okay. So P is equal to k into x square is minus 1 square plus y square is again y plus z square is 25, right. This is your 27. So 5 into 27, how much do you get? You get 140 as an answer to this particular question, folks, right, okay. Alright, so let's quickly move on to the next question over here. Question number 7. Let n be the least positive multiple of 11 that leaves the remainder 5 when divided by 6, 12, 15, 18, right. Which one of the following is correct, okay. N be the least positive multiple of 11, okay, right. How do you find out the least positive multiple of 11 that leaves the remainder of 5 when divided by 6, 12, 15 and 18, okay. One thing I hope you guys must have learned, that whenever we talk about least, what do? We get started with the LCM. So first let's just take the LCM of these numbers, okay, right. So if you take the LCM of these numbers, right, LCM of these numbers is how much? 18 will be how much? 180, right. So 180 is the LCM of these numbers. So 180 is the minimum number that divides all of the given number over here, right? Okay, now if you add 5 over here, which means 185, right? If you add 5 over here and divide with this number by 6, by 12, by 15 or by 18, will it leave the remainder as 5? Right, will it leave remainder as 5, right? But now you also need to have it as a multiple of 11 as well. Okay, if you also want it to have a multiple of 11 as well, can you simply do, right? Can we simply do, now they have given the range is like 900 to 1000, 1000 to 1100, 1100 to 1200, 1200 to 1300, something like that, right? Okay, so if we check for this one, right, if can we do like, can we do the multiple of 180, right? So how much this one will give you, right? 955, right? This particular value is 955. Is this number divisible by 11? No, right? So if this number is not divisible by 11, can we do 180 into 6 by 5? Okay, right? So 108, 1085. Okay, is this number divisible by 11? No, again no. Okay, so 180 into 7 plus 5. Okay, so 126, 0 plus 5, right? 1265, right? Okay, so 1265. Okay, right? So 1265, right? Okay, so if you check for 1265, right, is this number divisible by 11? 5 plus 2 is 7 and 6 plus 1 is also 7. Yes, this number is divisible by 11. So 1265 is the answer, which lies over here between your 1200 to 1300, folks, right? Okay, so you know, all of you must have studied the SCF and LCM chapter over here. What we do is that we find out the LCM of this number plus this. Okay, right, we found out the LCM was 5 plus this, right, plus so that 5 was the remainder, but then that number has to be divisible by 11 as well, so we incrementally try to find out the multiple. Okay, and over here we found that if we do 180 into 7 plus 5, okay, so which is 1265, so this number was okay, this number was divisible by 11 also, and as well as its leaving remainder of 5 when you divide it by 6, 12, 15 and 18. Okay, you can check it, you can take any of this value. Let's say I take 6 as one of the values. Okay, if we divide 6, 1265, right, 2 times 12 gone, 6 times 1 6 gone, 5, remainder is 5 over here. Okay, right, at the same time 1265 is the number which is divisible by, right, okay, your 11 over here, folks, right? So with this we come to an end of this particular question, question number 7. Now let's move to question number 8 with that. Okay, so what is the value of this particular expression over here, right? Okay, so this is what they have given, right? Can I simply write this as 1 divided by root under 10 plus root under 9 into, now I am doing factorization, right? Okay, so if I am doing factorization over here, can we write it something like that? This is this one. Okay, so now plus root under 11 plus root under 10, again I am doing factorization, right? Okay, so root under 11 minus root under 10. Okay, right, and I am not writing for this one. Okay, now I am writing for this one, 1 divided by root under 196 plus root under 195. Again I will do factorization, 196. Obviously in this kind of question almost everything will get cancelled out, right? 195 divided by 196 minus root under 195, right? Okay, now if you look at this carefully, if you look at the denominator, a plus b into a minus b, right, which means a square minus b square. A square is root under 10 square, which is 10, and minus root under 9 square, which is 9. 10 minus 9 is 1. Okay, a plus b, a minus b, a plus b, a minus b, which means denominator is going to give you 1 for sure. Okay, so what you are left with, you are only left with the numerator. So let's look at the numerator. You have got plus 10 minus 9, okay, plus root under 11 minus 10 plus dot 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 up till root under 196 minus 195. Okay, clearly this will get divided, this will get divided, somewhere in between 11 will also come into the picture, right? Somewhere 11 will also come into the picture, and over here what will be left over here, 195 will also get cancelled, right? Why will 195 get cancelled? Because over here just one term before that you will have, right, 195, 195 root under 195 minus root under 194, right? So 195 will get cancelled over here, right? Okay, I mean just above here you will be having root under 195 minus root under 194, right? This is what you will be having. 195 will get cancelled, 194 and even before that will get cancelled. So what you are left with, you are left over here is with root under 196 and minus root under 9. Okay, root under 196 will give you 14 and root under 9 will give you 3. So if you solve for this, you get 11 as an answer to this question, folks, right? Easy, extremely easy. You were just supposed to look at the question and look at the question a bit more in a careful manner. Okay, right? So now you have this particular question, right? Okay, right? Train X crosses a man standing on platform in, right? Yeah, one moment, folks. Yeah, so train X crosses a man standing on a platform, right? Train X crosses a man standing on a platform in 24 seconds. I am saying length of the train as X, okay, and the another train as Y, okay, and the train Y crosses the man standing on the platform in 18 seconds. They cross each other while running in opposite direction in 20 seconds, right? So can we say speed of X is equal to distance by time, okay, and the speed of Y is equal to distance by time. You know X and Y is the length of the trains, right? Train X and train Y, right? So from here can we get X is equal to 24 into Sx1 Sx, right? From here you get Y is equal to 18 into speed of Y, right? Is that what we get? Now what I'll just do a little bit of cleaning stuff over here. So these are the length of the, these are basically the length of the trains. Okay, now you know speed of the train X plus speed of the train Y, okay, and they cross each other in how much? 20 seconds. So it is like this one, okay, right? Speed is equal to distance by time. X and Y are the length of the trains, right? So which means what? Which means what? S of X over here, right? This is how much? 20 into Sx plus Sy is equal to X plus Y. X value is how much, right? 20 into 20 Sy, right, is equal to 24 Sx plus 18 Sy. Is that what you have, right? So now let's just solve for it. Let's just solve for it. Okay, so now over here 20 Sx, 24 Sx, right? Okay, now over here 20 Sy, so which means 2 times of Sy is equal to 4 times of Sx, right? Okay, which means Sy is equal to 2 times of Sx, right? Okay, Sy is your speed of Y, Sx is the speed of Y and speed of X, right? Now they have asked over here, right, speed of X, which means Sy divided by Sx is equal to 2 by 1, and then they have asked what is the ratio of the speed of X is to Y. So we just flip it, okay, what 2 is to 1, just flip it and make it 1 is to 2, right? Okay, so over here the trick was to look at the you know, the portion wherein you were supposed to equate the distances, right? Okay, right, so let's move on to the next question with that, folks. Okay, right, all right. Okay, so now this is a very not so easy question. Okay, so please listen to me carefully for this particular question. Let P plus Q be the roots of the equation. Okay, right, so over here if P plus Q are the roots of the equation, which means sum of roots P plus Q is equal to how much? Minus M, right? And the product of the roots PQ is equal to how much? Minus N. Now M and N be the roots of this particular equation. M and are the roots of this particular equation over here, right? So M plus N is equal to how much? M plus N is minus P, and M into N is how much, right? m into n is how much? Minus q, right? So these and all observations are known to us, right? Okay, now the first option over here says m into m plus n is equal to minus 1. Okay, now we know the value of m plus n is equal to minus p, right? So what we do over here, okay, m into minus p, which is equal to 1, okay, which is equal to minus 1, which implies mp is equal to 1. Okay, mp is equal to 1 is what we have. Okay, right? And over here, right, and from this what we can find out that, okay, now over here also they have said, right, p plus q is equal to 1. Okay, now we also know the value of p plus q, right? So p plus q can be put over here, minus 1 is equal to m, which means m is equal to minus 1. If the value of m is equal to minus 1, okay, m into p is 1, which means p value is also minus 1, right? Okay, now we know certain stuffs over here. Okay, now we know certain values, right? Look at this carefully, right? Okay, look at this one carefully, right? P plus q is equal to p plus q is equal to minus m is what we know. Okay, value of p is how much? Minus 1, plus q, value of m is how much? Value of minus m is how much? 1, right? So q value is how much, right? So value of q is 2, right? The value of q is 2, right? And now if we put over here in this particular equation, right, m plus n is equal to minus p, right? M plus n is equal to minus p. M value is minus 1 plus n, right? Minus p value is how much? Okay, minus p value is also 1. So n value is how much? 2 over here, right? Okay, now can we take these two values? Okay, can we take these two values? Okay, p value as 2 and q value as this. Okay, should it be equal to this? If this is equal to pq, if I'm taking the value pq, right, in the left hand side, pq, right, pq is equal to minus n. Okay, left hand side, p value is minus 1, q value is how much? 2, right? And in the right hand side, minus n value is 2. Okay, minus 2 is equal to minus 2. Okay, what we actually did is that we found out the values of m and p and consequently q, right? And then, right, by using these ones, okay, by using these two equations, right, these two equations and also the given options, okay, option A and option B, right? Okay, observation 1 and observation 2, and we checked whether it worked out with this particular observation or not. Okay, what we found out that yes, it did work out. Okay, what does it mean is that both of your option A and B over here are correct answer over here, folks, right? So for question number 10, the correct answer will be C, right, folks? Okay, you might want to go through this question all over again, right? Okay, I would highly encourage you guys to go through this particular question all over again, right? Okay, right? So let's move on to the next one, right? We'll move on to the next one over here, folks, right? What is the maximum value of 8 sine theta minus 4 sine square theta, right? Okay, what is the maximum value of 8 sine theta minus 4 sine square theta, right? Is that what they are saying, right? Okay, so over here you have 8 sine theta minus 4 sine square theta, right? Okay, so for this type of question you can simply start by putting the values. Okay, you can put theta value 0, right, theta value or sine theta value 1 by 2, right, 0, 1 by 2, 1 by root 2. You can't put 1 by 2, right? You don't have such an answer 1 by 2. Also root 3 by 2 also won't work out, right? And also 1, right, at sine 90, right? If you put these values over here, right, if you put these particular values over here, if you put sine value 0, so 0 minus 0, it will be 0, right? So what you are left with, you are left with only two values to consider, right? Okay, if you consider sine theta value is equal to 1 by 2, right? If you consider the value of sine theta is equal to 1 by 2, this will be 1 by 2 into 4 into 1 by 4, right? Which means it will give you 3, right? At sine theta is equal to 1 by 2, or it's at when theta is equal to 30, right? But when sine 30, right, at sine 30, right, sine 90, right, this particular value over here becomes 8 sine theta minus 4 sine square theta. Okay, sine theta value is 1, which means simply 8 minus 4 is equal to 4, right? 4 is the correct answer over here, folks. Okay, in no way you can get either 8 or 12. Okay, right? You can solve for this by yourself, right? In no way you can get these values over here, right? Okay, now let's move on to the next question over here, folks. Okay, question number 12, right? Okay, for question number 12 over here, we can simply take certain values. Okay, it's your choice what value you want to take. I'm taking alpha beta value is equal to 45. Why? Because I've always told you, whenever you see alpha and beta, right, or whenever you see tan theta and all that, you have the first thing first you should take theta value how much, 45. So this will give you 1, 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 which means this whole value is 0. Tan 45 minus tan 45, right? 1 minus 1 is 0, right? Okay, now what you are left with, you are left to solve with this one, which is 1 plus 1 whole square, right? 1 plus 1 whole square is how much? 4, right? 1 plus 1 4. So this particular value, when alpha and beta both values are 45, should give you how much? 4, right? Now let's look at the options over here, right? Let's look at the options over here. If you look at the first option, right, tan square 45, tan square 45, right? 1 into 1 only, right? This is also 1 into 1 only, right? Okay, right? Secant, what is the secant square value, right? Tan 45, right? What is the value of secant square, right? Secant square over here is how much? Root 2 square into, again, secant beta square, right, again is root 2 square, because both the values are 45, right, which means 2 into 2, which will give you 4 as an answer over here, folks, right? This particular value will give you how much? 2, right? So over here for question number 12, answer will be B, will be the correct answer to this particular question over here, folks, right? Okay, now let's move on to the next one, right? Consider the following statement over here, right? We want to consider the following statement. The first statement says, right, question number 13, tan 50, right, tan 50 minus cot 50, right? Okay, tan 50 minus cot 50 is positive, is what they are saying, right? Okay, if I want to write about the tan 0 is 0, right? Tan 30 is 1 by root 3, tan 45 is 1, it is tan 60 is 3 root 3, and tan 90 is infinity, right? Okay, so what does it mean? That tan theta is an increasing function. Okay, tan theta is increasing. This is what we can understand from here. Okay, now cot 50 can we simply write it like tan 40, right? Cot 50 can be written as tan 40, right? Okay, because tan and cot are complementary, right? 40 plus 50 is 90, right? So obviously this value is bigger and this value is smaller, so this will give you a positive value. What does it mean? It means that your observation 1 is the correct answer, right? Okay, now if you look at the second option over here, right, the second one over here, cot 25, I can simply write cot 25 as tan 65, right? Complementary, right? Minus tan 25, right? Now this is obviously a very big value, bigger value than tan 25, so if you solve for this you will get positive value, right? But what they have given, this value is negative, right? So which means this is not the correct answer, folks, right? Okay, so over here for question number 13, we'll go ahead with option A as an answer to this particular question, folks, right? Okay, we have a few more interesting questions coming in, folks, just hang on. Okay, now look at this particular question, right? If alpha minus beta and alpha plus beta both lie between 0 to 90, right? Okay, if they both lie between 0 to 90, let's forget this, okay, And let's just look at this. Okay, tan alpha plus beta is equal to root 3, right? So obviously alpha plus beta is 60, right? Tan 60 is root 3, right? Now alpha minus beta is 1 by root 3, which means alpha minus beta is how much? Obviously that is 30, right? Obviously that is 30, because tan 30 is 1 by root 3, alpha minus beta is equal to 30, right? Now if you solve for it, you get alpha is equal to 45 and beta is equal to how much? 15, right? So now they have asked you tan alpha will be how much? 1. Cot 2 beta, that means cot 30, right? Cot 2 beta, right? Cot 2 beta is cot 30. Cot 30 value is root 3 over here, folks, right? Okay, cot 30 value is how much? Root 3. So C is the correct answer to this particular question over here, folks, right? Okay, now question number 15, they are asking what is the value of sine square theta plus cos square theta into secant square theta plus cosecant square theta, right? Okay, this is what they are asking, right? Okay, so if they haven't given any values, can we simply assume theta is equal to 45? Over here disclaimer is that please don't assume theta is equal to 0 or 90, otherwise it gets a little bit dicey, right? At 45 you get all the values, right? So sine 45 is 1 by root 2, 1 by root 2 whole square is 1 by 2, okay? Cos square theta is 1 by root 2, 1 by root 2 whole square is 1 by 2, right? Secant 45 is root 2, root 2 whole square is 2, right? Cosecant 45 is root 2, root 2 square is again root 2, right? This is 1 by 4, into 4 you get 1 as the answer, right? 15 will be, answer will be B over here, folks, right? Easy, extremely easy, right? Okay, right? Now let's look at the question number 16 over here, folks. 64 raised to the power sine square theta plus 64 raised to the power sine square cos square theta is equal to 16, okay, right? 64 over here raised to the power sine square theta plus 64 cos square theta is equal to 64, right? Okay, this is in the raised to the power, right? Okay, this is in the raised to the power, okay? Cos square theta is equal to 64, okay? These type of question are best solved with logic, okay, right? So what we will be doing, we will be applying our logic, okay? So in this kind of question it is highly likely that these two are symmetry, okay, right? These two are basically what, okay, sorry, it is not 64 over here, these two are 16, right? These two are symmetry. So if these two are symmetry, which means 64 raised to the power sine square theta should be equal to 8, right? This one should be equal to 8, okay? This one should be equal to 8, okay? As I told to you, these values, these questions are solved by using logic, right, rather than the actual way of solving that, okay? Which means if it has to work out this way, which means sine square theta has to be, sine square theta value has to be half, okay? If sine square theta value has to be half, which means theta is equal to 45, that is given over, right? Okay, right? Now if you put the value theta is equal to 45 over here, right? Okay, it gets how much? 64 root under plus 64 root under 1 by 2, right? Which means 8 plus 8. Yes, at theta is equal to 45, it does satisfy this particular equation, okay? So tan 45 is 1, cot 45 is also 1, okay? So question number 16, answer will be B, folks. Answer will be 2 over here, right? Okay, 2 will be the correct answer for this particular question, folks, right? Alright, so let's move on to the next question, okay? Many of the aspirants have problems in this kind of question, right? Okay, in these kind of questions, like, right, wherein they see a lot many trigonometric functions and stuff, but then when they give you trigonometric functions, it also means autonomy for you to work out the way you want to, right? Okay, right? So I'm now solving for question number 17 over here. Question number 17 is what am I solving? They haven't given anything. Cosec theta minus cot theta is equal to m and secant theta minus tan theta is equal to n. Then what is the value of this particular stuff is what they are asking. I am simply assuming theta is equal to 45 degree, okay? So what does it mean? What does it mean, right? So cosec theta minus cot theta is equal to m, or otherwise root 2, right? Cosec 45 is how much? Root 2 minus cot 45. This is the value of m, right? And what will be the value of n, right? The value of n will be secant 45 is again root 2 and tan 45 is 1. Okay, so this is the value of m and n. Okay, now they are asking what is the value of cosec theta plus sec theta, right? Okay, cosec theta value is root 2, secant theta again the value of is root 2, right? So this particular value over here, right, this particular value gives you root 2 root 2, sorry. Okay, if this gives you 2 root 2 at theta is equal to 45, and you know the values of m and n. Okay, now if you look at the options carefully, folks. Okay, if you look at the options carefully, right, okay, the thing is that in this mostly, right, okay, it always comes out that mostly the symmetrical ones is the answer. Okay, like over here you see over here plus minus, again plus minus, right, plus minus, these are the last option that you should look at. Okay, right. So let's say if I am taking B as an option, because this seems like an easy option for me to work with, right? Okay, if I am choosing B as an answer, m plus n, right? M plus n, right? M plus n is how much? 2 root 2 minus 2, right? This is m plus n plus 1 by m, right? Plus 1 by root 2 minus m, root 2 plus 1, over here root 2 plus 1, right? I'm just doing factorization, right? Okay, plus 1 by n, right? Okay, it is what simply 2 times, because m and n values are same, right? Okay, now denominator will give you 1, right? So we can simply do away with the denominator. Now over here it is your 2 root 2 minus 2 plus 2 root 2 minus 2, this one gone, plus 2, this one gone, this one gone, this is your 4 root 2, right? Where did we want to reach? We wanted to reach 2 root 2, but where did we reach? We reached 4 root 2. So obviously there was supposed to be 1 by 2 as well, folks, which was missing. So that is why A is going to be the answer to this particular question. Okay, right? So A is going to be the answer to this particular question, folks, right? Okay, always look for symmetry and all that. Okay, now this is an important question. That's how they make the question a little bit tough for you, right? From a point X on a bridge across the river, right? Okay, so on a point X on a bridge across the river, so let's say this is across the river and you are standing over here, right? Okay, this is the point X on a bridge across the river, right? The angle of depression of 2 points P and Q, right? Angle of depression is what you know, right? Angle of depression is the angle with the horizon. This is alpha and this is beta, is what they are saying. So automatically this particular value will be alpha and this particular value will be beta, right? Okay, is alpha and beta if the point X is at the height h. Okay, I'm saying this particular as O, right? H above the surface of the river. What is the width of the river if alpha and beta are complementary, right? If alpha and beta are complementary, instead of writing beta, can I simply write it like 90 minus alpha, right? Can I simply write this as 90 minus alpha? Why? Because alpha and beta are complementary, right? Okay, now in this particular triangle PXO, can we apply tan alpha, right? If we apply tan alpha is equal to h by PO, right? Now they are asking the point, what is the width of the river? They are asking what is the width of the river. Width of the river is PQ. PQ is equal to what they are asking. Okay, so PO value is this, right? So PO value is equal to h by tan alpha, right? H by tan alpha is what you have. Okay, now if I'm considering in this one, okay, BOQ, right? Okay, BOQ tan 90 minus alpha is equal to h by OQ, right? Tan 90 minus alpha, you can also simply write it as cot alpha as well. Okay, cot alpha, or otherwise what you can write over here, OQ or QO is equal to h by cot alpha is what you have, right? Now you get the value of PO and you also get the value of QO. Can you add these two values? If I add these two values, right? Okay, if I add these two values, we get h by, right, h by tan alpha plus h by cot alpha. This is the length of the, this is the length of your what, okay, right. So this is basically the length of your bridge, right. So if you consider this tan alpha into cot alpha, right, tan alpha into cot alpha, I am saying h over here, h is outside, right. Tan alpha into cot alpha will give you 1, right. Now it is your cot alpha plus tan alpha, right, okay. So now this particular value is basically p value is h into cot alpha plus tan alpha, right. Now look at the option, look at the each of the options over here carefully, folks, okay, right. We look at the each of the options carefully, we don't get to any of the answers, right, okay, we don't get to any of the answers, right, okay. And first thing first, we cannot introduce a new constant capital H, right. So this is not the correct answer, and over here it seems to be a misprint, right, okay, right. It seems like there is something like you know, they have wrongly mentioned, right. But let's look at the twist, okay. Now if you consider this particular equation, right, now I'm deleting this one, okay, h into secant alpha plus cosecant alpha, right. If you consider this one, option D, right, h into secant alpha into cosecant alpha, right, okay, h into secant alpha and cosecant alpha, what you can write it, you can write it like h divided by, right, so, okay, secant alpha you can write it as sin alpha, and cosecant alpha you can write it as sin alpha, cosecant alpha you can write it as sin alpha, secant alpha you can write it as cos alpha, right. Is that what you have? Okay, now let's look at this particular value, right, the one that we have got, let me change the color of the pen and write, okay, we have got h into tan alpha plus cot alpha is what we have got, okay. Can we write it h is h into sin or in alpha, sin plus cos by sin, right, which means h divided by sin into cos, right, over here sin square plus cos square, which means h into 1 by sin alpha into cos alpha, right. Can you see this particular value is equal to this particular value, okay. So which means D is the correct answer, folks, over here, right, okay. That is exactly how the question papers are made tough for you, okay. So you know, you will be wondering, you will be thinking whether this is the wrong answer. You cannot introduce something like that over here, okay. So that's how it is, right, okay. Alright, folks, so if they want to make the question paper tough, that's how they will give it to you, right. In a triangle ABC, let's draw a triangle ABC over here, right, okay. In a triangle ABC, angle ABC is equal to 60 degree, AB is equal to 6, okay. They have also given altitude, but I'm not drawing it, okay. BC is equal to 8 is what they have given over here, right, okay. Now they are asking what is the area of the triangle. You know the area of the triangle, half AB sin theta, sin 60 is the included angle, right. Sin 60 you can simply write it as root 3 by 2, right. This was an easy one, root 3 by 2, this one gone 4, this one gone 3, which is your 12 root 3. B is an answer to this particular question here, folks, right, okay, right. Alright, so with this we reach the last question that we are supposed to do over here today, folks, okay. If P and Q are the roots of the equation, they have given the equation over here something like that, okay, right. So obviously if P and Q they have given something like that, okay, so we have the sum of the roots, P plus Q is equal to sin square theta, right, minus B by A. P into Q is how much? Minus cos square theta, C by A, right. Now if we do square on both sides, right, if we do square on both sides, what we are left is with P square plus Q square plus 2 PQ is equal to sin raised to the power 4 theta is what we have, okay, right. So now they are asking what is the minimum value of P square plus Q square, okay. So which means P square plus Q square is equal to sin raised to the power 4 plus 2 times of PQ. PQ value is how much? Cos square theta minus cos square theta, right. So which means sin raised to the power 4 theta minus cos square theta, right. This is the value of P square plus Q square, and now you have to minimize this particular value, folks, okay, right. If you want to minimize this particular value, let's check how can we minimize this particular value over here now. Okay, right? So if you want to minimize this particular value, right, okay, you want to have the minimum value of this, right? Okay, right? So if we put sine 0, right, okay, sine 0, right, if you put theta is equal to 0 over here, right, if you put theta is equal to 0 over here, right, so sine raised to the power 4 will be 0 minus 1, right, plus 1, so this is 1 only, right? Okay, if you put theta is equal to how much, 30, you put theta is equal to 30, this particular value will be how much, 1 by 16, because 1 by 2 raised to the power 4 minus, okay, I think we missed something like hold on, yeah, okay, so we missed minus 2 cos square theta, right? Okay, so minus 2 cos square theta, we have p square plus q square is equal to minus sine raised to the power 4 theta minus 2 cos square theta is what we have, right? Sorry, so this is what we have over here, right? If you put the value over here, now the value putting stuff starts over here, right? Okay, now if you put the values over here, right, okay, if you put theta is equal to 0, you put theta is equal to 0, this is 0, right, and minus 2, right, sine raised to the power 4, and then this is your 2, which is minus 2. They have not given that in the answer, right? And then let's go ahead. If we put theta is equal to 30, sine raised to the power 4 will be how much, 1 by 16. Why? Because 1 by 2 raised to the power 4, and over here will be how much, okay, so hold on, yeah, okay, so okay, so this particular value over here, when it goes, it becomes minus, okay, it becomes over here minus, which means it becomes over here plus, and which means it becomes over here plus, right? Okay, you see, by just a small mistake it can cost you a lot of stuff, okay, right? So just a small mistake of in the sign, it was costing us a hell a lot, okay. So if you put theta is equal to 0 again, right, okay, so which means sine theta will be 0 and plus 2, which is your 2, right? Theta is equal to 30 if you put, right, so which means 1 by 16 plus 2 divided by root 3 by 2, root 3 by 2 square is how much, 3 by 4, right? This one gone, this one gone, okay. This one will give you something like 8, right, 25 by 16. We don't have such an answer over here, right? Okay, similarly for theta is equal to 60, you will get some root 3 by theta is equal to 60 root 3 by 2 raised to the power 4 plus 2 into 1 by 2 whole square, you will get something like that, okay. So this is how much, okay, 9 plus 16 plus 1 by 2, right, which is 8, right, this is how much, 17 by 16, which is also not in the answer, right. So now you have left with theta is equal to 90, okay. If you put theta is equal to 90 in this particular equation over here, sine raised to the power 4, right, sine raised to the power 4 theta plus 2 cos square theta sine 90, value will be 1 and this particular value will be 0, right. This value is more than 1, this value is also more than 1, okay. So the least value what we could do over here was 20, question number 20, answer will be B over here, folks, right, okay. Alright folks, so thank you so much all of you for joining. With this we come to an end of CDS 2024 2 question paper, right. I'm solving set A, question number 1 to 20. I'll see you again with question number 21 to 40 very soon. Till then, bye bye, thank you so much, see you, good night and Jai Hind. I'll see you guys soon. Bye bye, Jai Hind, Jai Hind folks, see you again soon.